I think there's a political aspect to why one studies history, a contemporary political aspect, because people will always, in a gross way, be lied to about their past. And so it's important to know what actually took place. I suppose these days the big example on everybody's mind is the Indigenous history. So it's really important for Canadians to have some understanding of the relationship between Indigenous and non-Indigenous people, so they can come to some understanding of what to do today about these issues, for instance. When I was starting out, there was kind of a dichotomy between popular history and academic history. People used to argue about it all the time. When Pierre Berton himself was writing his books, when Peter Newman was writing his books, they would often get snarky reviews from the academies, and they would go back and forth. I always thought this was a sign of cultural immaturity in Canada, that you looked at other countries, the United States, Great Britain, they had no trouble accommodating academic authors with writers of very good popular history books, which is what I wanted to do. So I'm gratified to see that over the years that dichotomy has broken down a bit. So I'm trying to write to a general literate, non-academic audience who just has an interest in Canadian history. I find my subjects almost anywhere. I've been freelancing for 40 years, so this is my livelihood. So to a degree, I have to go where the money is in that sense. In order to subsidize the books that I might have an interest in myself, like say The Imaginary Indian, again, nobody asked me to do that. But over the years, people asked me to write books on the highway or many other subjects, and so I find my subjects that way. But the other books I find because of this interest of mine in debunking stereotypes, as it were. The Imaginary Indian came out 22 years ago, but it was reissued 2 years ago. And about 2 years ago, an instructor at one of the colleges, I think it was in Ontario, got in touch and wanted to do a long-distance interaction with his class. And so we did that, and a couple of months later I got this big envelope in the mail from the class. And they'd all, I guess after I was through pontificating, he had asked them just to express their own feelings about the book and about the subject, the stereotypes of Indigenous people. And they had written poems, and they'd written stories, and there were objects, feathers and stuff like that in this big envelope. And I found that very touching and very gratifying.